Chapter 2. Should we stay or should we go? Jack, I understand you don't want to work at your old job anymore, but does that mean we have to go back to Canada? We've settled in so nicely and the boys are doing so well here. Bep really wasn't that thrilled about the prospect of moving back to the much colder and distant Canada. They had left Holland and spent the first 7 years of their marriage there, but Bep didn't really see any reason to go back again now. They'd left for a nice place to live with some privacy, right? Well, right now they had a wonderful new home in a quiet village in a beautiful part of Holland. She saw her siblings and in-laws often enough here. She certainly wouldn't see much of them living an ocean apart. She was a Dutch girl and quite happy here in Holland. Well, Jack's perspective was a bit different. He had embraced Canada long ago. After marrying and moving to Montreal, besides his job and family, becoming a Canadian had been his main preoccupation, and he had officially become one about as soon as he could. Jimmy was still too young to fully appreciate what his move back would mean, while Johnny was somewhat indifferent. It was the oldest boy who seemed to have the strongest feelings about returning to Canada. Chapter 3. Benny. Benny, as he had been called, more so in his younger days, had been a happy enough little boy, doing well in school, happy to play and roam around. He liked to take things apart, put stickers in books and collect things. He had some trouble adjusting to the initial switch in countries, and by age 7, shortly after coming to Holland, Benny declared that his name was Ben, not Benny, and proceeded to scratch out the NY ending of the name he had written on all his books and papers, most notably from his book of animal stickers, for which he had collected 2 pre-gummed pictures at a time from cereal boxes. As well, not long after coming to Holland, Benny developed a bad stammer, and as the years went on, our Ben became not quite as happy a little boy, not so much because he stammered or just couldn't seem to get his words out a lot of times, but rather that he was made more and more aware by everyone that there was something not right, till this growing awareness of something being wrong spiraled inward into a choking off of much of his self-esteem and happiness. Perhaps others felt uncomfortable with the silence or with Benny's obvious struggle and facial grimaces as he tried to talk. Albeit well-meaning, they were always coming up with explanations for him why he couldn't speak, like he was thinking about what to say, or pressuring him by insisting he should take his time, or finishing his sentences for him, often to his extreme frustration, when they completed a sentence in a way that Benny had not intended at all. In any case, endlessly making it crystal clear that they thought something was wrong, that Benny should take a deep breath, patting him on the head, that it was okay, Benny, or by listing all the famous people that had stuttered and had somehow overcome this horrid affliction. In short, making Benny ever more aware that there was something dreadfully wrong with him, and slowly transforming his life into a living hell, where he dared not express himself, in fear of exposing the leprosy that became apparent as soon as he opened his mouth. But one thing that Ben was proud of, and that he could cling to maintain some semblance of self-esteem, was that he was at the top of his class. Even in grade 2, his very first year in Holland, continuing without being put back a grade from grade 1 in Canada, by year's end he surpassed some kids even in Dutch, as far as grades were concerned at least. Though good at it, language was not his forte ever. Math was. It seemed he couldn't speak very well, but by gosh, he could solve math problems better than anyone. And therein lay most of his reluctance to return to Canada. Ben was in grade 6, the last year of primary school. Entrance exams for the various levels of high school were just around the corner. The headmaster of the village's boys' school, who was also his own teacher this year, had said he was recommending Ben to write the entrance exam for gymnasium. In this case, gymnasium was not a hall to exercise in, but the name of the highest of 4 levels of Dutch secondary school. Aspiring scholars were handpicked from villages and hamlets throughout the region to apply to attend this school. If all went well, Ben would be allowed to study there and learn all there was to know, including Latin, Greek, science, and math. Mr. Brunt had said it had been 4 years since he had recommended anyone from his class to take that exam, but this year there were 2 he would put forward, Ben, the math whiz, and Hank, the local piano prodigy, who since age 9 had played the church organ during Sunday services. Acceptance was not a sure thing, but it was something Ben really felt he should try to do. So it was this Benny who, after some facial contortions and delays, expressed to his dad, I don't want to go back, Pop. I love it here. This is my home. I don't want to go back to Canada. It was heart-wrenching for his dad. but there was no question about it. A little 11-year-old did not decide what was best for Jack or the family. We should never have come back to Holland, Jack thought.